left didn't say, hey, not only are we going to take your NBA team away from you for being a racist, but we're also going to take your public housing away from you for being a racist too. I mean that's one of the questions I have. I mean, I thank you. I appreciate it, Elizabeth Warren, because you really, really, really managed to outsmart yourself. You exposed how HUD and all the assets of HUD get filtered into the billionaire elite's hands. I applaud you. That was a very heroic thing. I'm really not that against you, because you also had something else really bright to say. And what you said was this. You said that we have a huge problem with lead poisoning and lead lines in the water. I mean, it's not even in low-income communities. I did a geothermal system in the West Village in a house that's worth probably $20 million today, and they had a lead line going into their house. And their next-door neighbor was on the same line, a weird building situation, and the kids had their health problems. So I really applaud you on bringing that up. I think that's an important thing, a very clever and well-placed item to bring up when you're talking about the great Dr. Ben Carson's appointment to HUD. And Ben Carson referred to there being 310,000 cases. Now, maybe I didn't pay attention enough, or maybe he just didn't have the time to allude it. I don't know if it's 310,000 kids that are sick. I don't know if it's 310,000 buildings that have lead lines. I would imagine it's more. But Elizabeth Warren asked Carson, what are you going to do to clean this up? You know? I don't want to pay for it, all right? I didn't, I am a licensed plumber. I didn't dig up the streets and put in lead lines to people's houses. I didn't do that 100 years ago. You're probably a copywriter, an editor, a nurse. You didn't put in lead lines. You're not going to profit off of this. Why do I have to pay for it? And I think the change that has to be made in America is this. The people that are actually benefiting off of those properties are the ones that have to pay for it. Now, I'm not talking about the person who's living in it. See, Elizabeth Warren referred to this as a Northeast issue with older infrastructure. So the housing markets in the Northeast have skyrocketed. So here's three scenarios, I would say. Or maybe there's four. The first people that should have to pay for a new lead water line going into the house are the banks that have the mortgage on the property. I'm sorry, but you know what? In reality, you're the one who owns the property, right? And the property that you own could potentially be offering harm to its residents. Now, that guy has to live there for 30 years for you to profit tenfold off of the property that he bought. The least you could do is reach into your filthy little pockets and pay for them to have a clean, safe water line. Now, there's other people. There's people that maybe, all over New York, yeah, we have public assistance, we have housing projects, we have this, we have that, but we also have these big, beautiful apartment buildings that have been in people's families for generations, and they're either selling them off as condos or they're making rent, like ungodly amounts of rent. I mean, maybe there's one or two rent control issues that are still around, but most of them are getting bought out. So you have these rich people who are very land rich, let's say. Okay, you have this amazing building that you own flat out, and you're going to be making gazillions of dollars off of it. And you got a lead line going to it. Fix it. Fix the thing. Okay, so we got banks. We got regular people who are fortunate enough to own property in cities, okay? And then we got the Donald Sterlings of the world, the Menachem Starks of the world, I want to say a couple real estate property managers that I know of in New York in my years of being a plumber, but why expose them? There's plenty of these big time real estate conglomerates that either own the property because they're dealing with Section 8 income, just own the property because they're rich enough to own it. Okay, well, for the last 40, 50 years, you've absolutely been ignoring the fact that you got a lead line going into the house. I mean, you should even just see some of the galvanized lines and all the rusted pipes and everything. You got lead lines going in the house. Well, buddy, you own this gazillion-dollar building. Spend the $50,000 if it even costs that much. Dig up the freaking street and put in a new line. Hello, and then you got, I guess you have, city housing authorities and the people that own the land or own these buildings for public assistance. So here's what you do, because I'm not paying for it. I mean, I'll go put in the new line. You'll make tax dollars off of that. I don't understand why the government doesn't see it like that. All the government needs to see is, oh, well, somebody's going to put in a new plumbing line. Underground plumbing costs a boatload of money, and we're going to tax them at a decent percent. Cool. They can't look at it like that. Nope. So that's what I say. I say the banks that have a mortgage on the property, they should have to change it. The person who owns the building flat out, change your lead line, bro. We don't need a government program. I mean, look what happened to all the government programs for green energy in the Bush administration. Gonzo. See you later. Bye. They just went away. Everyone was standing there like, oh, well, I'm waiting to find out what kind of tax rebate I'm going to get, this, that, the other thing. Once the banks stole our money in the 2007, 2008 horse and pony show, there was no more green. I mean, unless they were siphoning off money to that big solar plant in Vegas, in Nevada or whatever, there's no more money for green. All of a sudden, do you know how behind the 8 ball I am? Because I live in this supposed meritocracy of this bureaucracy. Well, let's just call it a bureaucracy. Do you know what I mean? I gotta pay for somebody else's water line, for some rich mofo's water line in a building that he owns. I'm sorry. I just don't see where that's appropriate. Thank you.